Side Hustle Show 153, 0 to 20K a month in a year. 5 ways to completely dominate your niche.
Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where aspiring part-time entrepreneurs learn how to turn their side hustle dreams into reality. Because your 9 to 5 may make you a living, but your 5 to 9 makes you alive. And now, your host, Nick Loper.
What's up? Nick Loper here. Welcome to the Side Hustle Show, where it's all about ideas, action, and results. Some incredible results to share with you today. I'm joined by John Hawes, a longtime listener of the show, who's built his side business from basically 0 to 20 grand a month, and actually beyond that now in a year. Now, what's this business all about? Well, it's about nursing. John's a registered nurse and has spent the last 12 months thinking of all the ways he could help nursing students. And he actually quit his nursing job in August to pursue this business full-time when the earnings started to healthily eclipse his day job salary. Now, today we're going to discuss 5 ways you can completely own your own niche, and how John is using each of them to serve nursing students. And we're going to cover his strategy for those channels and how each is monetized as well. They are podcasting, books, an online course, an app, and a physical product sold through Amazon FBA. You can learn more about John at his online home base, nrsng.com. That's nursing without the vowels, nrsng.com. And you can grab a free PDF highlight reel with all of John's top tips from our conversation at sidehustlenation.com/nursing or through the link in the episode description of your podcast player app. Ready? Let's do this.
About a year ago, we started a podcast and kind of gave ourselves the ability to really talk to people and put out content, and that's kind of blossomed into what it is now.
Is it an interview-based show? What's the podcast all about?
Sure. So the way it actually started is I kind of
about nursing.
It's about nursing. So I had a little background in the internet marketing stuff and things, and just wasn't having a lot of luck in the blogging sphere and everything with the nursing everything. So I started a podcast that was about nursing, and then kind of niched down even more and started a show about medications that nurses needed to know to pass tests and to work as a nurse on the floor, because that was kind of an area that a lot of people don't talk about because it's really complex and stuff.
Okay. That sounds super niche.
Yeah. And so we really niched down into that and got to the point of got it to a daily episode actually for quite a while. Just little 5-minute episodes, just really, really short to the point things, and I just threw a bunch of them out there and it stuck. And a lot of people just really found a ton of value in it.
And still working full-time at this point.
Yeah, I was still working full-time, doing 3 to 4 days a week as a nurse overnight. And then during the week, trying to kind of make this thing work.
What do you think was the most effective way of getting attention, getting listeners, getting downloads to that podcast?
So I think the biggest thing for me was sharing my story. I mean, I was actually listening to some of my first episodes last night, and they're really, really awkward, because when you first get on there and you're just talking to a mic and trying to figure out the audio and everything, it's incredibly awkward. But I would share my story, and I would share things that I was passionate about within nursing, because there were things that would upset me or get me really excited, and I would try to bring those to light and just really go into detail about that. And I think that people really resonated with that. They liked that passion. It was something people were preparing to become, so they liked hearing someone with a little bit of experience just really passionate about what they were doing.
Okay. You think it spread, word of mouth amongst nursing students? Like, hey, you got to check out this guy's podcast?
Because even if you look at it now, we actually only have 11 reviews. So I don't know if people are, but at the same time, we're ranked anywhere from number 2 to number 9 for medical podcasts. So we're ranked up there with New England Journal of Medicine and the Brain Science podcast. So some pretty good podcasts. Okay. But yeah, I think it was really just, I covered such a huge gamut of topics really quickly.
Okay.
And just put a lot of content out there, and it was going to be there every day. So no matter when someone went and looked, they found it.
And you're still doing the show, still doing it daily?
Yeah. So the show, my goal was, and so we can talk about this a little bit more too. What I did is I had a list of 140 medications that were must-know medications for nurses. Okay. And I kind of got that while I was in school. So I found things that people struggle with or things that people really needed to know, made a huge database of it while I was in school. And then, about a year into my job, when I was looking at doing this whole nursing website and stuff, I found that listing and I was like, well, why don't I publish this out there, get it on Amazon and do a podcast about it. And so I recorded all 140 of those really quick, put them up there. And then in the meantime, so now what it's kind of evolved to is I have those ones out there. And then I also do some interviews with experienced nurses or nursing students or other people that have inspired me. And then I'll just do kind of like in between episodes where I just give some tips or advice or things that I see in nursing that need to change, kind of things. Okay.
Are you selling sponsorships on the podcast, or how are you monetizing all the time and energy that goes into it?
So that was the big concern with starting it, because it does take time to do these podcasts,
Absolutely.
And to learn it and everything. So I think when I initially started, I was thinking of doing sponsorships, but it never has evolved into that. And I think people really like that. And what I actually do on the podcast is I promote my own things. And I think in the end, that to me and in my industry and niche and stuff, I think that's probably more valuable because it gets people into my email list and into my, I'd rather have people on my subscriber list where I can continue to make money through them versus, making $1,000 a month through ads or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good long-term view of it.
Right.
Now, at the same time, or around the same time, November of last year, you also dive into the Kindle Publishing world. And I just looked you up, 33 books to your name, and they appear to be, at least the ones on the first page, they're all about nursing. So you've got a huge kind of Kindle empire about nursing. So tell me a little bit about, getting started as a publisher.
Sure. Well, I don't think you can talk about Kindle Publishing without mentioning Steve Scott, because Steve Scott really, I have to credit him with what we've done there. So with the nursing, again, with the Kindle Publishing, what I did is I took a bunch of little problems that people were having, because it was to write a whole book about nursing or to write a whole book about the NCLEX, which is the national exam. That's huge. That's a huge undertaking. It'd be a couple 1,000-page book and just take forever. So what I did is I went back into my notes that I had from school and kind of found those things that helped the most,
Okay.
And I started writing little books about them. These are 9,000 to 20,000 word books, but they provide just a lot of value. And then I used, different tools like Longtail Pro or Merchant Words or just Amazon searches to find what people were struggling with. And then as my list grew, I could say, the first email they get is, what are you struggling with? And that would turn into a book. So they aren't huge books. It's small things that are really quick reference sheets or things that can really help somebody. So
how are you getting people onto your list to figure out what they needed help with?
The number one thing that I think about when I hear Pat Flynn is he always says, his biggest mistake or his biggest regret starting out years ago for him was not getting people on his email list soon enough. So I didn't want to make that mistake. And I maybe set up email funnels and stuff too early. I don't know if that's possible. But so on my podcast, if I did a podcast about like heart failure or diabetes or something, I would say, go to my website, nrsng.com/diabetes, and there's going to be a cheat sheet about how to take care of somebody with this. That would kind of outline, what I did in pictures and graphs and stuff. And so through the podcast, I was able to get some subscribers.
Okay.
And then within each book, I created like a really nice cheat sheet and just a standard one that I've put in every book. And so then I can get my Kindle people on there, and then I start to tell them about new books, and it just started to grow from there via those two things.
Okay. So a couple of things I want to mention. So Steve Scott, if you're not familiar, is a very successful Kindle author. His kind of MO is to pick, one kind of broad topic area. In his case, it's habits. In your case, it's nursing, and beat that topic to death from every angle that you can possibly imagine. And like you said, these books don't have to be, the end all be all definitive guide to all things habits or all things nursing. Hey, 10 to 20,000 words, that's perfectly acceptable to be a book. The book I just published was about 20,000 words. And there you go. And the other thing I want to mention is, hey, leveraging two pre-existing platforms or marketplaces where there's a common theme on the Side Hustle Show, iTunes as a pre-existing marketplace, Amazon as a pre-existing marketplace, rather than like you said, hey, I tried this whole blogging thing, like shouting into the wind, like trying to get people to find my site, and it's just so competitive in the world of Google. Like that's a really tough thing to come across. So give me an example. What was the cheat sheet or lead magnet in the books that you're using?
Oh, it's just a really simple thing. It was really just a spreadsheet that I turned into a PDF that contained some lab values that people could print off and take to clinicals with them while they were in school. It was 2 or 3 pages, but it solved the problem,
Okay. So nothing super crazy.
No, not at all. Yeah, and I think that's a problem that people can make. And I think I was in that boat too. I was like, I got to create this video course, or I got to create this, this huge ebook that people can get for buy my 99-cent ebook and get a 40,000 word ebook. I don't think you have to put that much time into it. You just need to solve a problem. And like you said, like you really can beat things to death with Kindle because I think really in the industry, there's small problems. And as you start to learn, you don't realize what beginners don't know until you start that email sequence of what are you struggling with. You start to see things that like you've learned so long ago that you just forgot that was a struggle to learn.
Yeah, I'm with you. You tend to take a lot of this stuff for granted as you kind of get going, and you can never imagine a time when you didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you do anything out of the ordinary to market these things? Like I'm looking, some of these titles have dozens of reviews. They've got a nice little #1 bestseller badge in front of them. I typed in nursing into Amazon. You were the first guy to pop up.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. So just kind of curious, what was the strategy other than just like, hey, I'm going to shotgun out and write 30 books?
Sure. Let me try to think back. As far as marketing, so I don't think I did anything crazy out of the ordinary outside of kind of what Steve recommends and stuff. It was really find a problem and nail it down really, really well. And then you release it out there. And you can use, like I said, again, use the tools like Merchant Words. It does a good job of giving you some keywords you can use. Okay. And so I did that. And if you look too, like I don't think I keyword stuff my titles either. Like I don't think I have parentheses, everything related to nursing, And so I don't think you have to like keyword stuff crazy. You just need to be in that niche.
No, they're really clean. 36 nursing cheat sheets for students.
That's it. Yeah. Like if the book has value in it, like people will buy your next book and stuff. What I did, the #1 thing you have to do to market, I think anything in Kindle is going to be building your list. And if you're not staying within a single niche, you kind of can't really do that. And so I build my list. And then within my list, I created a sub list that was my street team, I called them. Okay. And so I kind of sent out an email list to everybody on my list to say, hey, do you want to be on my street team? To be part of my street team, you'll get an advanced free copy, or I'll ask you to do a survey or this or that, and if you want to do a review, that'd be great, kind of thing with it. And so what I would do is I would put the book up for like a day or two, just put it at $2.99 or whatever. And then I would bump it down to free and email just my sub list, my smaller list.
Okay.
And so that will get me a spike of free downloads really quick. And then I'll bump it up to 99 cents and email, slowly start. So this is something I knew I started doing now that my list is a little bit bigger, I guess. So what I've done is then I'll take my whole email list and I'll break it down to about 5 groups based on when they signed up. Nothing fancy or anything there. And then I'll start emailing those groups individually. So like I'll email group 1 Monday and Tuesday about my book. Then I'll email group 2 Wednesday and Thursday. And what that does is it gives me like a week or two of continuous launch. Does that make sense?
Okay, rather than spiking the rankings
for
all
a day
at
or
once,
two. Right, exactly.
Disappearing.
Yeah, exactly. So, my email list is pretty good size right now, so I can divide it up into groups of 5,000 or 10,000.
Yeah. How you're being modest. How big is a pretty big size?
So I just checked. It's 46,774.
Wow.
And so I'll take those 46,000 and break them down into groups of 5 or whatever, or groups of 5,000, and I'll launch it. So I'll send like 3 emails to each group. I'm trying to make sure I'm making sense. I don't know. So like on week 1, I'll email group 1 only, like 3 times: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday,
Friday. This represents 20% of your list or something.
Sure, right, exactly. And then so week 2, I'll email group 2. And so what that does, it gives me like 5 weeks of launching a book. And it doesn't take a ton of downloads to get you pushed up in the rankings, honestly.
Right, okay.
And so for my list, I'll keep it at the 99 cents or whatever. And then after that, I'll bump it up to $2.99, and then I'll bump it up, a little more just to see kind of where the sweet spot is with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, I think I've never heard of anyone doing that.
Yeah, because I think that's a little different.
It would be like, I got a book, I'm going to blast it out to everybody.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I actually only did that with my most recent book I did, and it worked really well. I was really happy with how it worked. And then in there, like Amazon's really cracking down on how you ask for reviews and things like that. And so a simple way, I'll say, on my last, like a day or two after I finish launching, I'll say, hey, if you enjoyed the book, feel free to leave a review or whatever. You can't really ask for a good review or anything like that, but you can say, hey, if you liked it, it'll help more nursing students find it if you leave a review.
Okay. And you're doing that in a separate email or just in the same email? Hey, thank you for downloading the book. If you like it,
Yeah.
Or not if you like it, just leave an honest review.
Yeah, leave an honest review and let us know. If you had concerns with the book, contact me directly. I think that's something you can say. I don't think Amazon would be upset about that.
Yeah.
But say, if there's something that you want us to change or you didn't like, you email me personally and I can take care of it versus, blasting me on Amazon or whatever.
Yeah, one thing I saw that Taylor Pearson did I thought was really smart was like, hey, if you notice any typos in this book,
yeah,
send me a note or let my editor know. And I was like, man, that's pretty good because I'm sure there's always going to be something that you don't catch.
Yeah, that happens, and that's kind of a hard thing too. Like when you're putting these books out individually, I think you can solve problems really, really well that like big publishers can't solve. But the problem with that is, people expect the same quality that they're going to get from Pearson VUE or whatever, and that that's hard to do when it's just me and my wife in our office trying to do this. So right. Yeah, but I think once you. And so the hardest, just really side tangent real quick, the hardest thing getting into this nursing thing was putting myself out there. Because with internet marketing, a lot of times you can hide behind everything else. But with this nursing thing, I knew I had to put myself out there. And I was really worried about that because you read YouTube comments and it's like, God, man, people are mean,
Oh yeah, it's brutal. Yeah. I made a rule: never read any YouTube comments.
And it was that scared me because it's like I think I'm a good person, but if I start telling people who I am online, they might think otherwise. But I put myself out there, and that was the scariest part probably about all this. But I think that helped a lot, especially when you're trying to teach someone, they want to have a face and the stories to go with it. So there's pictures of me and it says, this is who I am, this is who my family is. And I think that helps too for people to see okay, this is someone real and he can, make a typo every now and then, Yeah,
absolutely. You can't understate that, right? Because it's the sites that I've done that have tried to be anonymous have done horribly, right? And it's the ones that you're proud enough to put your name behind that tend to do a little better, at least for me. But it is trying to get over yourself and, I don't like the sound of my voice in this podcast. And, you have to put it out there. Or I didn't want to do video for years because oh my gosh, I don't want to be on the camera. But these are the things that ultimately move it forward. I'm really happy that it is, authentically John, behind all this stuff. So it's really cool. And all of these I wanted to ask, just are ghost written, any of them, or it's all you?
It's all us. Well, me. Okay. So my wife helps with some of them, and her name are on the ones that she helps with.
This is almost a book a week. This is nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So my wife is a dietitian who works strictly in the intensive care unit as well. And so on some of our, we have a book about fluids and electrolytes, and so she helped with that one. And then some of the books, kind of repurposed stuff. Yeah, we busted it, man. We did all this in a year, but it's been a long year. This is basically all I do, is do this. And as you get the success, it continues to motivate you, obviously, and it makes it worth it. Once your time starts counting, because that's the hard thing starting out is your time's worth nothing. And it's man, I'm wasting all this time. But then as you start to have a little bit of momentum, that starts to really build up. And then once a book is out there, that's the beautiful thing about the books and stuff like that is once it's out there, it's always making money. So all I'm doing now is I'm adding to my base income, Mm-hmm. And then so that really starts to motivate you. But yeah, all these books are us. And then we do have a couple contractors that help as far as the test preps type of things that are professional test writers that we've hired to help with a few things. But our top books, all of our books are basically me.
All told, what is the Amazon portfolio earning you?
So all told, I put all the books on, I put most of the books on CreateSpace as well. I don't know if everybody that's doing KDP knows about CreateSpace, but CreateSpace is an awesome tool that Amazon provides too, where you take your PDF file of your book and you upload it to createspace.com, and then it goes on to the Amazon printed book site. And
it makes you look way more legit.
It does, yeah. Because then you're on the real Amazon site and stuff. You don't make a ton of money for those books, but yeah, it does make you stand out. And some people still just don't do Kindle. We get emails from our subscribers all the time. And they're like, I don't have a Kindle, they don't know there's a Kindle app and stuff. So having that printed book for them is really helpful. So between the two of them, it's about 50-50, but all told, we probably do right about 120 to 140,000 a year on the books.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's nuts. And half of that is the paperbacks.
Yeah. And that's net. That's net. So I don't know what the gross is because Amazon takes on the printed books, a book will sell for $9, but we only make $2 of it because of the printing cost. And on the KDP ones, we make 70% or so.
Yeah. So making around 10 grand a month from the publishing side of things.
Yeah.
And that's driving email signups. That's driving revenue. Dang, with 46,000 email subscribers, I'm thinking like, man, you don't have to worry about Amazon. You could just sell this stuff directly now. But
wait, what do you mean? Tell me what should I do?
Well, like I've seen.
Oh, you mean like on my website? Like
you could charge more than $4.99 for a book, right? Like if it has a very specific outcome for something like this, right? You could sell it. This is John's definitive guide to nursing for $39.95.
Well, you may have to edit all this out, but you're right. Like that's something I want to do. Like 2016, I want to be about getting this whole crap pile of stuff that we've built out into like an organized manner, because we put so much out there, and it's like, okay, we got to get this like all under one brand and everything, because we have so much out there, but like it's not as organized as it needs to be. And I think we're sitting on something that could be doing 2 or 3 times what it is doing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the covers where there's kind of like a consistency in colors, but not so much in the branding.
No, not at all.
Maybe that's an opportunity.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And
awesome. Like, well, yeah, I mean, it's cool that like, hey, this is what we built, even in spite of some of this stuff. So,
right.
Wanted to kind of move things forward. Kindle, that's awesome. Podcast, that's awesome. Yeah. The next income stream that we talked about is an online course. What's the course all about?
Sure. So the course is actually, believe it or not, about medications as well. So the medications has kind of been our big niche, really.
And this is coming from people directly responding to your first email? Like this is the Derek Halpern, hey, what are you struggling with question?
Really, it kind of is, yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people opt in through the podcast or through the Kindle book, or they say, hey, I would like my cheat sheet, or give me my freebie. Mm-hmm. Email number 1 says, hey, thanks you for signing up. Here's the thing you asked for. And by the way, what's your biggest nursing struggle?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it kind of introduces me. It has a like a picture of me and my family, because I want them to know who they're dealing with through these emails. And then, yeah, it kind of says, here's a couple of our resources and what's your biggest struggle right now. And I actually copied Pat Flynn's line. It said, because his was, what's your biggest struggle? Be as detailed as you want, or whatever. And so we'll get some that are a couple paragraphs long.
Yeah. People will tell you your life story.
They'll spill it too, if you ask. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably our biggest feeder of content. And it really gives you a chance to, and when people get a response to that email, like, you'll be surprised how quickly they'll respond back and be like, I didn't even know you were going to respond to me. Thank you so much. But that's like our biggest focus is being a person behind this company.
Okay, cool. So you get this kind of one-on-one market intel, and you start to see a pattern. Like, hey, a lot of people are struggling with this medication question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and luckily enough, I had a friend that I went to nursing school with that actually moved down here to Texas as well with me. And he just happened to be a pharmacist as well as a nurse. And he's like the smartest person I know. And so I talked to him. I was like, hey, do you want to do this pharmacy course? You could do this part of the course because you could go really deep into what people need to know in a simple way. And then I could do this part of it, kind of incorporate the podcast and create some cheat sheets and really just throw this really, detailed course out there. And he was on board with that. And we threw it out there and launched it to our email list.
You put this up on Udemy, or where did you launch the course? On your own site?
Yeah. So the backstory on that real quick is I've been a listener to your show for a while, and I love it. It's given me a lot of things to take action on. But this one episode you did with Ankur Nagpal, I was listening to it. I was sitting in the bath, relaxing one night, listening to it, and he's on and he's talking about his revelation with courses and how good they can do. And I went and grabbed my laptop, and before the episode was even over, I had the course all set up, and that was through teachable.com. And that's with Ankur Nagpal and I can't remember his business partner, but they built out a really incredibly simple course delivery method. And it was so simple, like I said, that before I even knew what the course was going to be entirely, like I had my account set up and I had kind of a structured lesson kind of set up. And then within probably 3 to 5 weeks, we had the entire course built out and ready to launch.
Wow. But it allows you to host the course yourself. But of course, that means you're going to be in charge of driving traffic to it, of driving students to it.
Yeah.
But of course, at that time, you had built up a sizable email. How many on the email list at that time?
Oh, boy. I honestly don't remember, Nick. Probably maybe 15 or 20,000, maybe.
Okay. A big list. It's a big list.
Yeah, this was right when I was getting ready to quit my job, probably about July this year.
Okay. So what price point did you settle on for the course?
So I'm embarrassed to say, but the course is I launched it only at $37.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. It seems like everybody says never price below $90, but
I never heard that rule before.
Oh, really? Like, so I gave it free to 50 people. Like I sent out an email blast. I said, first 50 people get it free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To test it, a week before we were getting ready to go. And I said, one of the questions was, what would you pay for this? And they all said at least $50 and stuff. But I felt at the end of the day that like I'm a pretty cheap person. Like I'm good with like Taco Bell is fine dining for me, so I didn't feel even, I mean, it's an incredible course. Like I truly believe it's the best pharmacy course out there at all online. But I felt as a student, like, man, we were on welfare and food stamps as nursing students. So I didn't feel comfortable charging, $200 for this.
Okay.
So yeah, we priced it really low, and then we've upped it a couple months ago. And then I'm adding more content now to kind of make it a little bit more expensive again.
Okay. And then, so after the first 50 people get it free, like, since this is on your own platform, you're not necessarily concerned with like user reviews for social proof. You just user reviews for the sake of feedback.
And that's kind of a hard part about it, is not having the user reviews. But I mean, there's ways you could make it, like show reviews for it and stuff, but it hasn't, I don't think it's held us back yet.
Okay. And then after the first 50, you said, all right, the doors are open. You guys said you were struggling with medications. We built the definitive course on how to learn what medications are safe. Mm-hmm. Here you go.
Here you go.
It's $37.
Yeah. So kind of just launched it like that. And I think we did maybe a discount, for a day or two. And like that first weekend, it made like $12,000. And then, and this is like, I mean, right now we have probably just about 2,000 people enrolled in that course, but we've done it pretty cheap, but it's made just over $50,000 in a couple months. So it's done pretty good.
Sorry, 50?
50. Yeah. 50.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And it keeps growing every month, because as we kind of get it out there, and as I like now seeing that it's something, like I'm putting more time into it, and I'm revamping it, making things nicer, and that's like the reason I really like Teachable is that they have an affiliate program already set up with it. So I didn't have to worry about managing any of that. And so I was able to find some nurse bloggers that are willing to promote it, and that's helped a bit. And then like I'm trying all kinds of stuff to market it, but like you talked about Udemy, and I don't want to like bash Udemy, but what I don't like about Udemy is they take control. Like it's their site, and they take a lot of control over even how long your videos can be. Like I uploaded some of the videos from my course that were really good, and like Udemy said, oh, sorry, that's too long. But for what I was doing, like it was what needed to be.
Yeah.
And then they offer a lot of like random discounts that you don't control. So like I launched the course on Udemy for $37, and everybody was buying it for $10. And I was like, what the, that's not right.
Yeah.
Because then I only made whatever percent of that. And so,
to keep the momentum alive for this thing. So I do like Teachable's built-in affiliate program and reaching out to others in this space. I think that's super smart. Is it like integrated into your autoresponder sequence or something? Like, hey, message number 4 is like, hey, if you're struggling with medications, check out our course. That's
something I need to build out more. I actually don't do a lot of that, but so the way that nursing works is there's about 3 or 4 times a year when people are really looking for stuff, beginning of semesters, end of semesters, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so we'll do a big push with that every year. And then like the first 3 emails right now, like it has a link to the course, and we'll get several people sign up through that. And then with other, like I have a couple other courses that are huge courses that are free. Within there, if someone signs up for that, they get a discount code for the course. But yeah, I'm hoping to get like a better email sequence built out. That's something else I need to do this year.
Okay. What does it look like today?
My sequence?
Yeah.
It's pretty crappy, I think. But I hear Dan Flagella. I don't remember whose podcast he was on, but I need to talk to him, I think. So the way it's built out now is really like someone will sign up, they'll get their free thing. And then that day or a couple days later, they'll get the email that says, hey, here's me. Here's what I'm about. This is my background. This is why I'm trustworthy. What are you struggling with? And the next day they get like one of my most popular blog posts that's done really well, that really kind of solves a problem. And then they get a couple more kind of free things that deal with pharmacology and medications and stuff with a link to it. And then like one more email that deals with it. And then, so the big thing that really does well for us, and that we get a lot of people signing up for, is every Friday at the exact same time, I send a different cheat sheet. And the cheat sheets are really nice, PDF, branded, logoed, kind of really nice things that they can save, print out, and they're on different topics. And so they get one of those every single Friday. So that really motivates people to stay on it. and to open the email and to get it. But beyond that, like I really need to learn more about email sequences and stuff.
Okay. No, that's great. You mean, so you've come this far, and there's always more opportunity. That's awesome. That's one of the challenges that I kind of foresaw with Teachable, is like you're going to have to be constantly refilling that funnel to be able to, get new enrollments every month, versus something like Udemy, where it's, hey, it's a marketplace. People could be searching for it on their own. Okay. Kindle books, podcast, course. What else is going on? You built a smartphone app, a test prep app?
Yeah, so we also built a test prep app. There's a bunch of people that do make like apps within this space, because it's a super easy. I mean, it's a quizzing type app, and that's really easy for people to program, I think. But there was a lot of stuff kind of missing from those that I thought needed to be filled. And there's one kind of app that just completely dominates the market, and multi-million-dollar app and everything. So I thought, well, I could probably make one second to that, and so I found some programmers and stuff, and we got that app built out. And that was a really long process. Like, building an app is pretty difficult.
Yeah, that's not an easy one to go down. Now, I heard a rumor that you actually had it built for equity instead of having to invest.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so I was lucky. I looked for outside programmers and stuff, and I heard Spencer Haas, my cousin's horror story with building Longtail Pro the first time and not getting the code. Like he didn't own the code, apparently, the way the contract was written, and that really scared me. So I was really lucky that my brother-in-law actually was an app programmer and really good at it. Like, he taught it in school and everything, and so he was willing to help. He was just incredibly busy. Like, the problem with finding a programmer is good programmers are busy. Like, they don't
they're not hungry for work.
Yeah, they don't need work. Like, they're sought after, and they have a backlog of what they can handle. And so it was really hard for him to do it, like with his family and his job and other projects he had going on. It was really hard for him to do it. But yeah, he was completely willing to just take just a small percentage of the equity going forward. And that helped a lot, just getting it up. But even with that, we probably spent about $5,000 or $6,000 to get it up without paying him anything.
Wow, just in terms of design or writing questions?
Exactly, yeah. Because it was a quizzing app, I wanted to have really good questions. Like, that was my goal, is like the quality of this type of app comes down to how good the questions are. So I hired actual test question writers, and I wanted to have a bigger bank of questions than anyone else. And so we paid quite a bit of money to get those started, and then we've continued to buy more and more and more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the app a paid download or a free download? Yeah,
so what we did, it's kind of a freemium app, is you get kind of the basic download, and then it's kind of a paid upgrade. And we've played around with pricing, and like I don't understand the App Store at all. Like, it's really annoying. Like, I don't like it. I mean, I don't know enough about it to really optimize it. I mean, the app does decent, but we've played around with pricing from 99 cents up to, I think, $15 for the upgrade. Yeah. I mean, it seems like right now I think it's like $12.99 for an upgrade after you download the basic for free. Okay.
Are you making money? Is it broken even yet?
Oh yeah. So it does about $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So it makes money. And the biggest thing with it is that we have a system set up with it where people are required to give their email to get it. And so everything that we do in this business is to get an email address. And that's my whole goal. Even though I don't know how to do email autoresponders, like, I know that, like, I have to, like, even without knowing how to do it, if I have a ton of people, I'll still make some money. And then hopefully I can find somebody to help me learn how to do it and then turn that into more money, But yeah, so we set it up for people to download, because a free app, no matter what I think industry it's in, you're going to get some downloads, And so that massively grew our email list pretty quickly.
Okay, so people are required to enter their email to do this. How many downloads a day are you looking at?
So not a ton. I mean, between Apple and we only have it on Apple and Android right now. We get probably about 150 to 200 downloads a day.
If everyone is required to enter their email address, that's like a huge asset to have out there.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at it from an app perspective, it's not insanely successful. But if you look at it from I'm getting paid for those email addresses, like, that's pretty huge. Yeah,
you're collecting 100 emails a day, and you're earning $2,000 a month from
right. I mean, it's a massive success in that aspect for sure. Because I mean, normally people would pay that much to get those many.
And it was just kind of a follow the leader. Hey, there's somebody else who seems to be really successful with this similar app. We can do it one better.
No, I mean, it was really like I wanted to change up the way it was done. Like theirs was very basic, quizzing app, and I wanted to make ours more a little bit, kind of try to make a little bit more of an addictive play type of thing, where we added a couple of different game modes into it, where you still get the same thing done, and then we added a couple back end features that I think are very valuable as far as like analyzing your statistics and things like that.
Cool. This is RN Crush.
Yeah, exactly. It's RN Crush.
Well, we'll link it up in the show notes if any nursing students are listening.
Check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. It's free to download. You just got to give your email to John.
Just give my email. Yeah, give me your email.
Become part of his world domination plans. All right. So we got the books, the course, the app, and then the newest income stream is going down the physical product path. Now, this is still in the nursing arena.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I thought about going outside of that, but I just couldn't convince myself to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. If you already got all of this audience built up around nursing, what else can I help them with?
Exactly. And so it seems like, I mean, the FBA, and it came down again to the FBA thing. Like I looked up the other day, it says that Amazon has 255 million committed customers that are like using Amazon all the time. And that's massive. I mean, there's no way my site could ever get that, And so I got addicted to, Scott Volker and his Amazing Seller podcast, and then seeing Spencer have success with it. And then it's like all these guys you look at that try it, it's like they just have immediate success with it. So I wanted to try it. And so I did Greg Mercer's Jungle Scout. I think it's like $90 to download. And it's an incredibly addictive app. And it seems to be pretty accurate, honestly, from looking at my cells and other cells and stuff. But it's I think I spent 48 hours sleepless just looking at different products.
Okay.
Wasting a ton of time, probably. But
this is good. So what criteria were you looking for on?
I initially, really wanted to try one of these things that was, import from China, and then I could call myself an import exporter and sound like really important and stuff. But I couldn't settle enough on something that I felt comfortable enough to start with that, because you get on these forums and people just have horror stories about FBA and stuff. So when it came down to it, I went back to my list and stuff and like, what are you guys struggling with? What do you need? And kind of built out some products that met that again, and kind of sourced some products here in the US and then had them all brought to my house and put them together and sent them off to Amazon, and it's done really well. Wow. Yeah. My products up there right now are all nursing focused, and they're brand new products. I mean, there's nothing out there like it.
So this is something like you invented?
Yeah, I mean, it's a collection of tools that students can use during clinical and stuff that I've seen my list really resonate with, and that they've really needed, and stuff that and that's the great thing about being in a niche that you understand, is it's stuff that I knew I could use on the nursing floor.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then, just kind of had it all created by, I think I sourced from like 3 different companies, brought it all here, pieced it together, and sent it off to Amazon.
That's awesome. Was there like minimum order quantities, or were you just like, I know this will sell?
I had no clue. Like, I honestly thought when it all finally got here, I suffer, you suffer from self-doubt every time you're going to put any product up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we put $4,000 or $5,000 into this, and it was like, I mean, I think it's okay, but who knows? I didn't know if it was really going to sell.
Right. And it's easier to make that bet when you have the income coming in.
Exactly.
And that audience as an asset.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, I didn't feel like it was an insane gamble or anything like that. And then, so kind of just pieced it all together, sent it off to them. And as far as minimum order quantities, there were price breaks for ordering more. And so I kind of ordered enough to get kind of that price break. I'm hoping that it would sell. And then it's been up for just right before Black Friday is actually when I launched it. And we're already getting, I put 1,000 units up there, and we've already sold half of them.
Wow.
Last couple of weeks. Great. Yeah.
Is it like exam season? Do you expect it to be seasonal? Or
so I don't, I don't know, because I'm trying to consider if it's going to keep doing well, or if it's going to do better as like it starts to rank for keywords as people buy through searches, So I don't know if it's actually going to get better, stay the same, or go down a little bit after Christmas. I'm really trying to I'm not sure yet, honestly.
Yeah, did you use a similar launch strategy, like kind of segment part of your list and be like, hey, you're my street team, I'll give this to you at a discount?
So the way I launched this one was really different, actually. I threw it up there and I turned pay-per-click on automatically for a couple keywords that I thought might work. And then I used merchant words, downloaded like I put a ton of words into my pay-per-click to start out with. And the problem with that now is I'm actually starting to compete with myself with pay-per-click because of I have several of my books on pay-per-click too, and now I have some of these products on pay-per-click. So I think I might be my biggest competitor. But threw this up there, threw some pay-per-click on, and then I made a little video about it and a landing page, and I just kind of posted that on Facebook to my page, or to my Facebook page. And I said, hey, this is something that might really help. Here's a little video. And so it takes them to, and the way the product is, like, it kind of needs a description, like a video about it, because it is something that's not really out there. So I just did a little video, threw it up there. They can go to the landing page, watch the video, and then go to Amazon from there. And that's brought in some purchases and stuff. And then on Black Friday, I did a little sell to my list and just emailed this out with a bunch of other stuff. So I haven't done an actual focus launch on this yet. Just because I don't want to ever be like that guy that's just blasting his list all the time. Like, I want them to find value through what they're getting from me, and I want a lot of it to be, free and stuff they can use. So I don't know what my marketing is going to be for this going forward. The pay-per-click is actually doing really well, so I'm kind of jacking that up as we go and trying to learn more about that.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And just keep throwing a little bit more money at it until it's not making money.
John, this is awesome. Like, you've given people 4 concrete ways to monetize a niche that beyond just like AdSense and advertising on a site. This is some pretty empowering stuff. And on top of that, using existing marketplaces to build your audience, to build your email list, to kind of create some leverage, just in case the rules change, you're still going to be in good shape because of that database of customers that you built up. So it's nrsng.com if you want to check out the nursing site, and it's johnhaws.com, JONHAWS, for what's over there?
So over there, it's just I just created a cheat sheet that kind of talks about kind of what I've done in this last year to kind of get me from, working my day job and hating it to working for myself. And I tried to break down in just 4 pages exactly kind of the steps I used and some of the resources I used.
Love it. Love it. It's all about the cheat sheet. It's all about the email list.
Exactly.
John, thanks so much. This is a great one.
You bet.
All righty. Hope you got a ton of value out of that conversation with John. I know that I did. Now, when I was going through editing the show, I realized I forgot to ask John for his number 1 tip for Side Hustle Nation. So I had to send him an email after the fact. And this is what he wrote back. He said, create a cheat sheet for your niche and start running Facebook ads to it. See if there's an interest. Make it super detailed and helpful enough to solve a simple problem, but this is a relatively inexpensive way to validate a potential market and start building your email list. And don't be so hard on yourself. You can do more than you can imagine if you just never stop learning and hustling. So John, I know you're listening. Thank you for those. I think my 2 biggest takeaways from this call were, number 1, the focus on being genuinely helpful to a very specific audience. Like, if the content is no good and it isn't relevant, then no amount of marketing hacks are going to produce the kind of results that John is seeing. So he's in a unique position to be able to speak very authoritatively to this market, and it is clearly paying off very well. Number 2 is, it all comes back to that email list. Like, at this point, he's built up a huge database of followers who know, like, and trust him and will support whatever products or services he comes out with next. But, like everyone else, he started from 0 and not that long ago. So he's been able to build this up in a very short period of time through the podcast, through the Kindle books, through the app, and through these Facebook ads. So, and on top of that, the list has become his go-to source for market intel, with the old, hey, what are you struggling with strategy. Now, as is per the usual, I've compiled all the notes and links from this episode at sidehustlenation.com/nursing. And while you're there, be sure to grab the free PDF highlight reel with all of John's top insights from our call. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, let's go out there, make something happen, and I'll catch you in the next edition of The Side Hustle Show. Hustle on.
Thanks for listening to The Side Hustle Show at www.sidehustlenation.com.